procurement today, and also looking, depending on what is the ambition of the company, where to go for the next level. And when you look, for example, on the value driver, what I just mentioned, a lot of procurement functions, you might be surprised, are still very operational and very technical in what they are doing. It depends a little bit on the industry, but basically procurement is not entirely strategic and really visionary. It is very often still overloaded with operational technical tasks. That's something what we are seeing right now, and a lot of investments going in the direction defining the value proposition. And this is why I mentioned the 2025 vision, where procurement needs to define where to go, where to be in the future by focusing on core elements like driving supply innovations as a value driver. Another one is securing a resilient supply chain with risk management in place, and that's where it comes on the global supply chains, looking on alternatives on the one side and also looking in a closer proximity to the demand side, to the market, the consumer market. Another aspect is sustainability. Consumers demand to know about where do the ingredients come from, which are in my products, as a product I want to buy as a consumer, and therefore companies are looking much more. And I think we all can agree on that. Currently, we only have one planet, one world, so therefore the resources might come to an end at a certain point in time. Therefore, we need also to think about what to do with the available resources we have, and therefore sustainability is a top priority on the agenda of companies right now. So procurement savings, you see it here, it is still on the list and it will continue. But basically procurement in the future might be also measured in a different way. And I will come to that in a moment when I walk you through these three dimensions and some examples before we then open up to the discussion. Let me talk before that very briefly about the enablers, the target operating model. So currently what we see is that the processes are changing, and we see this coming from the customer experience, what companies are doing right now. And I always like to say it needs to be Apple Easy, Google Fast to engage with procurement, like it is Apple Easy and Google Fast if you want to buy something on Amazon, for example, or a different platform, Alibaba, eBay, whatever you pick. There is no training needed. It needs really to be easy and it needs to be fast. And therefore, your stakeholder needs to be in the center of what you're doing in procurement. And currently, companies are assessing the processes they have to make them seamless, to ensure there are no frictions in these processes, and they are also stakeholder-centric. This means focus on the lines of business you work in procurement together, to develop an innovation, to provide the goods and services needed for manufacturing, and to secure that you have really a resilient supply chain. On the other side, there's the supplier ecosystem you are in. And you need to think about also how to set up the processes to make it easy for suppliers to engage with you, to electronically communicate, but also communicate in the way when you send out purchase order, when you receive invoices. On the other side, you need to think about the employees to make the catalog experience seamless. This is the stakeholder-centric process side, followed by the right structural organizational setup of your company. And going to the next level, then thinking about how to develop the people and have the right people needed for the task, including analytical capabilities, probably also people programming algorithms. And that's in part where it comes to the digitalization, the infrastructure, but also the new technologies like robotics process automation, like machine learning, artificial intelligence, what you can use in procurement, because one thing is pretty evident that you have lots of data in procurement and you need to see what to do, how to work best with the data. And I want to use it also giving you some more practical examples on what I just said. And I pick always one from the value dimension This is the innovations, what you see right now, and the enablers as well as on the technology side. Let's start with the supply innovations. And in the past, I always used one example. Everyone knows what this is and has one of these. By the way, a great example also not only for business model innovation, but also the Gorilla Glass. That's an innovation what Tim Cook came up with when he was Chief Supply Chain Officer. Now he's the CEO at Apple. But when Steve Jobs was still around, he invented with Corning the Gorilla Glass. And I know that's a very bold innovation what was done, but it is one great example, but there are many others. One which is very known in the automotive industry is the overhead display. When you have seen it, basically you get on the wind screen, you get basically the key information projected. That's an innovation driven together from procurement with the supplier. Another one is looking into the computing power, what you need right now. When you look at self-driving cars, autonomous vehicles, there's lots of computing power needed. And how to get this in a car, I think you need to team up also with the computer OEMs, the original equipment manufacturers, to develop new technologies to make it really applicable. And companies like Waymo are driving that, being very successful. Tesla has really changed the way how we see electric vehicles, also with high capability self-driving functionalities available right now. That's another great example on the innovation side. There are also very practical ones on a van which got produced between a university in Germany, in Aachen, and what you see here as a logo is Ford, and US car manufacturer. It seems none of the German automotive OEMs wanted to team up with DHL, which invested a lot of money in getting the first electric van on the road. These are examples also how to go to the next level, and give you an example on how procurement is driving innovations across different industries. Another one is what I mentioned about realizing the value dimensions. I just elaborated on and I picked innovations as one example. The end-to-end process setup, highly automated, seamlessly integrated, and it should be kind of a seamless experience what you have. When you open in a company your website where you have the catalog information, why is it or should it be more complex ordering something in a company than it is on Amazon or eBay or Alibaba? It should not, and therefore you need also to look in all the dimensions. The catalog is one prominent one, but it's also all the different procurement systems related to that, what you have. And a lean organizational setup is key, together with the right talents, the people. And I always say procurement is probably one of the most beautiful places of an organization I could imagine to be in. I did not know this from the very beginning, as I mentioned, with my personal career, but when I learned really what procurement can do, there is no other function where you interact with so many stakeholders, internally and externally, lines of business employees, but also suppliers. None other function is doing that, and procurement is a beautiful spot also helping to understand the business model. What is it really what a company is doing? What is it what IT needs to keep the infrastructure running? What is it what the production is doing to ensure that they get the nice products out there in time, and ensure also that it is a competitive price what they have? That's really where you see also what procurement can provide, and therefore I know that you might already realize that I have a passion for procurement, and this is also based due to the fact that you have so vast insights you can really leverage, and all of that really helps you to go to the next level, and also help that the processes, the organizations, people are also going to the next level, and potentially also procurement can become a talent pool for the people within the organization. So the final topic I want to mention is also the infrastructure. 14 years on the SAP side, I got a little bit into ERP systems, enterprise resource planning, the backbone of every company, and the different applications, now of course cloud applications. And you might also see it and guess it from the car examples. I'm also a fan about automotives, not only due to the fact that I like driving, it's also due to the fact that this is currently one of the most disrupted industries, what we see due to electric vehicles, self-driving capabilities, what's coming up. But it's also a great example using to explain a little bit about the evolution on the technology side by the infrastructure, which is the platform, and in the future probably cars will only be the platform, what they have added with the batteries, what they needed, and the rest is then the chassis, everything what comes on top to give the branding the right look and feel, depending also on what the automotive companies want to provide. And that's the same what is applicable on the infrastructure. You have the foundational IT systems. On top of that, you put as a core layer of supplier relationship management, source to pay, suite systems. But then it comes on top of that. What do you need on analytical capability, programming, algorithms, programming, machine learning to really connect data insights? When you see, oh wow, the weather is changing, the climate change is becoming reality, and there might be a dry period in a certain area. What is the impact now on the products, what I need? Like Ferrero had to do, and I'm a big fan of Nutella, that's what Ferrero is producing. Probably some of you like it as well for breakfast. The hazelnut were really very difficult to get. The majority of hazelnut is produced in Europe, in Turkey, and in the year there was a political situation in Turkey, and at the same year also a situation where it was very dry, and the hazelnut availability was basically jeopardized due to the circumstances. And this is also where Ferrero had to act quickly to basically also change and buy certain farmers to secure also that they have enough hazelnut for their product. And this is something, and I'm mentioning this example also to make it a little bit more tangible about why you need the analytics, that you can predict and use information when a weather situation is changing. What does it do to my production? And this is only a very easy one to understand, but we all know products are more complex, the world is more complex, supply chains are more complex, and therefore you need to have certain analytical insights, deep insights. And then next layer, what comes on top of that is a different way also on how you interact with suppliers when you want to think about new ideas, new innovations like supplier innovations. And with that, I think I hope I could give a little bit an overview about the current situation, what's going on, what is the impact for supply chain, for procurement, how is procurement itself evolving. I'm a big fan of procurement, and I believe procurement will have a beautiful future, up to that it might become also a talent pool for a company. But basically, I think it is fair to say that procurement is at an inflection point right now. COVID-19 gave an undivided attention on supply chain and procurement, but basically also it is time to act now and to define the future for procurement executives, to really lay the foundation for a prosperous future and also provide a great career opportunity for students like you who want to be interested or hopefully are interested in starting a career and also going to the next level in procurement. With that, thank you very much. I hope it was interesting. And Irene, back to you. And I hope we will have also a great conversation and some questions. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Marcel. Amazing presentation as always. To all of us that know you and follow you, we're big fans because you always deliver in such an insightful and interesting manner. Please, just for the logistics and the practical part, please place your questions to the Q&A. And as we are waiting some questions, I would like to start taking advantage of my position now. So we discussed that obviously there is an uncertainty during this period of time, Marcel, and during an uncertainty, and when we see that there is so much huge impact, financial impact, predominantly in the business world, apart among others, how easy, and I'm asking you from your experience discussing with your customers, how easy it is to tell them that, you know something, you need to invest in digitalization, because obviously they need to do something that seems to be very, very important if they want to manage their supply chains. And this is a risk that has been identified, and we see that there are so many voices in cross industries that they are saying that supply chains need to be more transparent, and we need to have this risk mitigation that will come predominantly from the digitalization.
Yeah.
So how easy or not easier to tell them that they need to invest more during this, let's say, period of time where they are losing their revenue, and convince them?
Yeah, I think a lot of industries are negatively impacted by the current situation, no doubt about, and we are now in the Christmas period here. In Europe, we see also that a lot of retail businesses are impacted by COVID-19, which is an unfortunate situation for lots of businesses. There are other businesses also benefiting from that. Amazon is on the other side, an example. The retail, the mail order business, e-commerce business, what we see. Healthcare industry is another example of an industry which is currently getting lots of focus, and also an industry with more opportunities in revenue generating by all the vaccine and the focus on healthcare, which is currently needed. I think overall what companies need to do is looking into the future, preparing themselves how to best be prepared and what to do, and investing in digital transformation. We have all seen how fast it goes. I would love to be on site with you, really seeing you, shaking hands, and also welcoming all of you at your university. But basically, due to the current situation, it's not possible. And one reason how we mitigate the situation right now is jumping on video conferences and even doing larger sessions with more than 100 people like this one now. With technology, and that's the reason why Zoom is so successful. We are on a Zoom call right now, or basically the video conferencing technology. I don't want to just name one of the players. There are multiple others like Skype, Microsoft Teams, which are now integrating WebEx, and so on. And I think we need to invest, and companies need to invest to be prepared for the future. And what we could show, and what we analyzed, is that companies investing in the digital transformation are simply better positioned in the current competitive situation. And that's something what gives a certain justification. But I fully understand also, and it's a great question, Irene, thanks for asking that, it is not so easy, and the business case is not paying off immediately. We see all the time, and I'm doing a survey with the university in Mannheim. Christoph Bode is a professor there now, 4 consecutive years. And basically 80+% always procurement executives are saying that yes, digital transformation, top priority, we need to do something. On the other side, we also see, oh wow, when you look into what has happened in the last 12 months, yeah, there were certain budget restrictions, we haven't had the master data quality, we haven't had the right people to drive the digital transformation. That's also what you see on a regular basis, and the reason, by the way, why procurement is not really a front runner in the digital transformation right now. And this shows, and now the current crisis, and coming back and closing the loop, is also showing how important procurement supply chain is, And technology is basically an enabler to drive collaboration, to also think about doing supplier innovations in a different way, and procurement only can do that with the next level also in investments in technology, which might be different depending on the industry you are, but basically that's absolutely key really to go here and invest in procurement like the other functions, sales is one